focus on black issues, but I think some people might say, well, this doesn't affect the black community per se, but it does because white supremacy is global.
That's right. And you know, you only think in terms of the black community because of white supremacy. Right? Before white supremacy, there was no black community, just like there was no Indian community, because there were no such thing as blacks or Indians. We were people. Case in point, many of the treaties we made with our colonizers required that we turned over black people, to which we agreed. And then we proceeded not to turn over any person. Why is that? Not because we were not true to our word. If we could find some, we would. But the people who are living amongst us from Africa, we didn't consider them to be black. We consider them to be indigenous people who were kidnapped from Africa and brought here to enslaved. And was, you know, whose Indian magic is stronger? Because, make no mistake, what they are doing when they use that logo and the team name, that's sorcery. They're generating energy. They're generating what is called PEP. I mean, that's the purpose of a PEP rally, to bring power and energy within the realm where it's accessible by the people that you want it to be accessible by. So that, and the fact that mascot comes from the Latin masca, meaning sorcerer.
I was gonna say that's kind of like an avatar, right? Kind of like.
Exactly right.
Okay.
So that's what I say when I question whose Indian magic is going to be stronger, the people or the people who are exploiting indigenous people for their own gain. And I think clearly what Russell Means said has come to pass.
There are many problems with Wahoo, right? And I think the most basic is the fact that an Indian head is a symbol of genocide. You know, since the European settlers cut off King Philip's head and stuck it on a spike outside of Fort Plymouth and sold his family into slavery in the Bahamas and Bermuda, that type of situation, the decapitation of native people, continued, you know, well up into the 19th century. You know, younger generations won't recall this, and many of the older generation won't recall this, but they used to keep Chief Osceola's head in a jar.
Who is that?
Well, his head was collected by a gentleman who ran a general store in Florida. He used to display that head in the window. And then at some point, that head was shipped up to a museum in New York. I believe it was the Natural History Museum, was subsequently burned down and the head came up missing. So, you know, we're talking about a span of several hundred years here. Many people don't know the history of phrenology and how that relates to indigenous people in this culture. And that is the history of, that was a pseudoscience where white men justify their dominance by coming up with a science based on the size and shape of a person's head. And within that pseudoscience, these determinations were made. Women, smaller brain capacity than men, maybe small as children in some extent, so therefore, you know, shouldn't have any rights. Black men, who were at the time enslaved, well, they have a cranial size that's larger than the average European on average, so even though slavery may be their natural state, they are destined to overcome. Indigenous people, small brain sizes, they're destined to be wiped out. And interesting how that theory fell in line with the views of the literati of the day. Right?
So this is the occult symbolism.
So
you
it's
can
a symbol of genocide. And Wahoo as a caricature is therefore mocking mass murder. And so we're told then to accept a caricature, accept a symbol that's mocking mass murder as something that is honoring us. I feel so honored, right? That's like telling a black person that, I'm going to put this noose on the tree and put this Confederate flag underneath it because I'm honoring you, and you're too dumb to realize it. That is the history of this demonstration, right? That's like telling a Jew. Now again, swastikas are an indigenous symbol, right? That was taken by the Third Reich and corrupted. As indigenous people, we hold that as sacred. But you don't see us parading it out because it's sacred to us, because we understand that it is offensive to other people. So my friends who are owners, right, of the team, that's like having a swastika prominently displayed and being told that they should feel honored by it at every turn. Do they understand this? Seems simple enough. So the feather itself as a symbol is a sacred symbol. As so many things are with indigenous people, right? So the red feather, depending on who you ask, is a symbol of having shed blood, right? For your people.
That's what the feather means?
Okay. That's what the red feather means. So Bob Roca, who headed up this demonstration about 10 years ago, who was my predecessor at the Cleveland American Indian Movement, he's Apache. And that is something that red feather definitely means for their culture, right? And in our culture, Muskogee culture, red feathers similarly are given to those engaged in conflict or having been engaged in conflict where they shed blood for their people. We subsequently have a white feather that is a symbol of peace. Right? So even if they were to change that logo to be something that is not a symbol of genocide, there would still be issues with it, right? And even if, because Sports Illustrated did that survey some years ago, I forget now, it was around 2000, 2001 or so, asking people on certain reservations what they felt about, what's going on at the stadium. And they're like, oh, well, whomever they talked with, we're not offended. They didn't talk to us.